All right, what's up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast real estate tip, where every single week I come to you delivering different tips, tactics, and strategies to help you get shit done in your real estate business to ensure that you are crushing and dominating your overall real estate goals. So today I'm here to break down and do a deep dive into how to make the transition from being a part-time real estate agent to going full-time successfully, and the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable, but also the most risk adverse way to make this transition take place. So maybe you're a real estate agent that this is the situation, position that you are in, which this is going to be extremely powerful for you. But also if you are a team leader, brokerage owner, or if you are an aspiring team leader or brokerage owner, this is also going to be very important for you to pay attention to, because the reality is when you're recruiting new agents to your team and your brokerage, which is a cohort of recruits that you 100% should be targeting and going after, right? You're going to have a big percentage of them that are going through this process. And the more successful you are at helping them go from part-time to full-time and accelerate their growth, right? The more win-win this is going to be for everybody, the more success you're going to have as a team leader and brokerage owner as well. All right, so then from there, I just want to break down my personal experience with this, because I want you to understand that this is not from a place of theory. This is true strategy, true applied strategy that I've been doing for, almost 19 years now since I started my team. Because some people might be like, well, Josh, you jumped into this full time. How would you know how to do this? And yes, that is true. When I got licensed in 2005, I jumped in full time. I burned the boats. I took the risk, even though, it was very financially risky the way that I did it, but it's just how I did it. But then from there, as soon as I became a team leader, I had to get damn good at this, because who is the majority that joins teams? Like, as far as, the real estate community is typically brand new agents or agents that are struggling to create success on their own, are typically those that are looking to join a team because they need the structure, they need the support, they need the leads, so very quickly early on in my, kind of team journey in about 2006, middle of 2006, I had to start learning on how to get good, damn good at this. And I've helped hundreds, if not thousands, between my own team and my coaching clients go through this process. So I have it down to a freaking science. And I'm going to walk you through these 8 exact steps of, again, how to transition from part-time to full-time in the most successful, quickest, but also most risk adverse way. And that's really important. When I say risk adverse, I mean, you'll get a lot of advice out there like, oh, get 12 months of savings in the bank. Look, I'm not saying to not have reserves in the bank to go out there and make this transition. But a lot of people be like, oh, just get a year savings in the bank. And then, it's, safe to go out there and just jump in full time. Look, that is still very risky. You can burn through that cash so damn fast. That is still a non-risk adverse way to go out there and make this transition. By no means am I not saying to go out there and have 6 months or 12 months of reserves in the bank. Like, that's probably a good idea as well. But these 8 steps I'm walking you through are, again, how to do this in the most effective, efficient, profitable, but most risk adverse way, because I know most of you that are jumping into this, man, you have families or you have obligations, you have commitments, you have bills, you have other things. So if you just, cut the cord with your job, jump into real estate full time, and then all of a sudden, like, you run out of money, and then boom, you're not able to honor those commitments. It puts you in a very tough position. And this is why, we all hear the failure rates in this industry. Oh, 90% of realtors drop out in the first 3 years and don't make it. And look, there's a lot of reasons that lead to that. Some of this is lack of commitment. Some of this is other things. But, one of the big reasons that I've just witnessed through my own experience of doing this, for almost 2 decades now, and being a very high, production operator, if you will, through this, one of the big reasons as to why I see so many people, this career ends before it really begins for them, is they run out of money and they don't follow this transition in the correct manner. They get themselves in a hard spot. So this full-time career then very quickly becomes, then they go get a full-time job, it becomes part-time, and then, just kind of slowly fizzles away. And I want to make sure that you are setting yourself up for success. So there are 8 steps, and I'm going to walk you through these. And all of these 8 steps are extremely important to do this transition successfully. Now, real quick, before I jump into these 8 steps, if you are a realtor, team leader, or brokerage owner, which I'm guessing all of you that are watching and listening to this podcast are, if your business is down, maybe your business is down, Maybe it's staying stagnant. Maybe it's growing, but not at the path and the pace that you really want it to. It's like you're operating down here, but you know your full potential is way up here, and you just do not know exactly what to do to get you from where you're at to where you want to go. If that is you, I invite you to schedule a 100% free, 100% zero pressure coaching call with me personally. This is going to be a 1 hour Zoom call with the two of us on it. And here's what's going to happen during this call. We are going to break down where your business is currently at, what your 12-month goals are, what your long-term goals and visions are for your real estate career, what you are currently doing, what your biggest obstacles are. And then once I gather that information from you, I'm going to walk you through my exact recommended strategy to get you from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible. It's like, dude, if we switch places and if I was you, here's exactly what I would do to get you from where you're at to where you want to go. And I will make sure by the end of this coaching call, you will know exactly what to do to, again, get from where you're at to where you want to go in the most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible. So we're going to eliminate that guesswork of what to do. Now, full disclosure, at the very end of this call, we're going to spend about 50 minutes on that. The last, 5 to 10 minutes, I'm going to walk you through some possible options that I might have with my coaching and mentorship program and see if they're a fit for you. And if they are, cool. If they're not, hey, that's okay too. We can still be friends. I will still make sure that this call is massively powerful, whether you ever do any type of business with me in a coaching capacity or not. I will make sure that you know exactly what to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go, and to have that clarity that you need to go out there and dominate your real estate business. So if this is something that you want to take advantage of, because this is not something I can do forever, I'm doing about 4 of these a day right now. So I'm allocating about 4 hours of my day to go out there and help GSD Mode podcast listeners get their businesses dialed in. So if this is something that you want to take advantage of during this brief period of time that I'm offering these, go to www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. Easy way to remember this: GSD Mode podcast. This is GSD Mode. It's a Zoom call. gsdmode.com/Zoom call. All right. So now let's transition back into and jump into these 8 different steps. Okay. So again, this is if you're going from part-time to full-time. So you've got a either full-time job, part-time job, whatever, and you're wanting to leave that career. Like right now, you're trying to balance these dual careers, right? And you want to leave that career and jump in and make real estate your full-time gig. Okay, step number 1 is to identify your realistic replacement income. You got to be very clear on this. And what I mean by this is, what is the exact amount of money that you must be making month over month consistently in your real estate business to fulfill your current obligations and commitments, right? And why I say realistic replacement income is I find so many people kind of guess on this and they don't really know what they need to budget and allocate for. You got to look at things like maybe you're in a good corporate gig right now that provides good insurance for you and your family, and you cannot go without insurance. Well, look, when you jump in and you become self-employed, one thing that isn't good is we don't necessarily have good insurance available to us. Like I spend about a G a month to insure my family of 5, and it's not even the best insurance out there, right? It's just, okay insurance, right? Like as you're self-employed, we don't get those great group plans, whatever that may be, so just making sure that, and again, you're taking the time to do this and knowing exactly how much money do you need. And it doesn't necessarily need to be the same amount of money. Maybe you got to make some cutbacks. Maybe you got to cut out some entertainment, some vacations, but you want to make sure that you're able to pay your, honor your commitments, your mortgage payment, your utility bills, putting food on the table for you and your family. Like what is the amount of money that you must be making at a minimum month over month consistently, where then it is safe to peace out and walk away from this other gig that you have, and then allow you to focus all of your time and energy on this one career. So step number 1 is to identify and spend the time to really break this down. Because if you get this wrong, you're going to jump in here and then you're going to realize, oh shit, I need more money now. I'm in a tight spot, right? So what is that replacement income, realistic replacement income that you must be making month over month in your real estate business? Okay. Step number 2 is then to identify what your realistic schedule and time allocation is that you can apply to your real estate business daily, weekly, and so forth, right? So we got to look at, okay, yeah, you got your schedule for your work and including in drive time, all of that, those things for your current, your other career, not your real estate career, but your other career. So we're going to map out what those are. And I'm just walking you through, like when I'm coaching somebody going through this, I'm walking you through the steps that I walk them through right now to ensure that they nail this and nail this correctly, through this. So we got to know how many hours and what are those time slots. Again, dealing in realities. It's like when I was a personal trainer, if I took in somebody that's never worked out before, and all of a sudden I was like, okay, we're going to work out 7 days a week and we're going to go to this extreme diet and do all this. Like I knew that was unrealistic. They're going to get hurt. It's not going to be possible. They're going to overtrain. They're going to, like we got to deal in realities with this stuff. So what is your current work schedule and your commitments to your current job? Because we want to honor those, right? Then from there, okay, you got commitments outside of work, maybe with the family, whatever. And we got to map this stuff out. So then we know, day by day, week by week, how many total hours can you allocate to your real estate business? But then what are those very specific time slots that you can allocate? Because this will then determine also greatly when we look at, what the effective strategy is for you, based on your time allocation and based on what days and what times, different strategies are going to make different sense, when it comes to your lead gen, lead follow-up and things like that, when it comes to that. So, okay, identify realistic schedule and time allocation. Okay, step number 3 is what I recommend to do is to identify at least one, if not multiple agents within your office, or and technically they don't need to be within your office, just in your market area that that you like, that you trust, that can get the job done in the event that you convert a lead into a client and you're unable to go out there and meet with and service those clients because your current other career, your full-time job or your kind of corporate gig, whatever that is, conflicts with you being able to service that client. So then now you can pass that person off and pass them off in the right way. People don't feel passed off. There's a right way to pass people off and a wrong way to pass people off, right? So if we sell it the right way, very easy to do, no different than when we have like an ISA or we're building a team, there's effective ways to go out there and pass people off where it's selling the value to them and we're leading the process, but then from there, you're able to hand them off to that kind of quote unquote agent partner that you're working with. We're not talking about, necessarily joining a team or creating a team. I'm just talking about somebody that that you like, that you trust, that if you cannot meet with this and, this family, this couple, this individual, then boom, you can have kind of your quote unquote partner, your referral partner, go take that meeting, take with them, take the ball, run with it, and then boom, split it 50-50. Right? Because I would rather you be making 50% of a commission versus 0. The reality is people aren't going to wait for you, for too long, like they need their services met or their needs met. Right. So, and again, I'd rather you make 50%. So instead of making a 10 grand commission, okay, maybe you make 5 grand. And look, other agents will do a 50-50 split on these all day long with you. And why? The hardest part of this business for most is being able to take that stranger all the way to the boom, we're ready to meet, ready for the appointment. That's the hardest part for most in this industry, right? Most agents are really good once they get face-to-face with people. They can, convert the buyer consultation, listing presentation, go out there and service the client. The most suck at what we call in this industry is being the rainmaker. Right. So then you're when you're making it rain, then boom, you can pass those people off that you can't work with. So that is step number 3. Okay, now step number 4 is to identify the most effective client acquisition strategy. And by this, I mean your lead gen, your lead follow-up strategy to go out there and get clients. Now, this is going to greatly be determined based on what your schedule is, based on what your time allocation is, and all of these different things. And this is, my strategy is typically different than most when I walk my agents through this. Most people are like, well, you're new on this journey. It's easier to start off on the buy side and whatnot. And look, I get the rhyme to the reason why people say that. However, let's just say you're working 40 or 50 hours a week in your corporate gig and you have very limited time, maybe only got 20 or 30 hours a week in your real estate business. And you got to get to the point where you're making at least 10 grand a month consistently for your replacement income, right? So the most effective, efficient, time from a time allocation standpoint on with your schedule is going to be going after listings. So a lot of my part-time agents, I get them going after listings and start, because within about 90 minutes a day of allocated time, okay, you can be setting a listing appointment a day, with the right overall strategy. But this is going to be determined, again, based on your situation. There's so many things, there's so many nuances with this, but you need to go out there and identify what is the best strategy for you to get to that replacement income based on your schedule, your time allocation. What is the most effective strategy for you to be executing on day in and day out, week in and week out? And when I say day in and day out, we might not have, like I was speaking to somebody not too long ago that is a full-time nurse, but she works, 3 days a week as a full-time nurse, 12-hour shifts, and she has a long commute time. So, those are like 14-hour days, on the days that she's working at the hospital. So I'm like, okay, like those days we're not going to have real estate, we're not going to be doing real estate, right? But we got these other 4 days that we can allocate time to real estate. Well, give me 4 days a week. I can get somebody popping, 2 deals a month pretty fast with 4 days a week when I'm going through these steps that I'm going through with you, right? So we got to break this down. We got to deal in realities with this stuff and make sure that you have the most effective client acquisition strategy. And again, client acquisition, I'm talking about your lead gen and your lead follow-up strategy that then, fits into this puzzle with your current situation. Okay, so that is step number 4. Okay, then the next step here is going to be tracking your numbers intensely, right? And this is something you hear me talk about all the time on this podcast, but in this case, it's extremely important always, but especially in this situation, right? Because it's so easy, to go out there and get lucky in this business and all of a sudden have a good fluke month or two, right? Like we need to make sure, and my recommendation is to make sure that you have 3 consecutive, consistent months at your replacement income. That then shows that this is a trend, not a fluke. You didn't just get lucky. Now, 3 months at a minimum. I would prefer you to go 4 if you're able to be patient enough with this, because there's no way you're going to repeat 4 months over and over and over at that replacement income. And then on top of that, that's not the most important element here. That's extremely important. But then we need to make sure everything is tracked and measured so you know exactly how you acquired each of those clients, how you acquired those closings for those 3 or 4 consecutive months. So we got to know, because you are in limited time. And here's the great thing about tracking. Like pretty much if take any part-time or full-time agent, I can pretty much, that's not tracking, I can pretty much double their income and get them, cutting their time in about half by just starting to track their numbers. Because usually the vast majority of people exhaust and waste 50, 60, 70% of their day and time on ineffective shit. And then they don't know how to, like, what parts of their business to refine, to get really good at, so this is, you have very limited time. We got to be very intelligent with your activities, with your time, with your skill set. So you got to make sure that you are tracking each and every single element of this. Okay, then the next step is to make sure that you got your processes and systems in place. So your processes, this is the step-by-step actions that you are taking. So the processes for your overall strategy, right? You've got these things well documented. So we're taking, what your strategy plan is. We're documenting those down. So each and every single day, what you need to be, day that you're able to allocate to work, step by step, what you need to be doing to go out there and get the results that you are wanting to get. We also need to make sure that you have the right systems. So, because processes are, think of it this way, right? So like, okay, here, for those of you that are watching this on YouTube, you can see this. So this is my company playbook, right? So this is, my real estate agent playbook, if you will. So this is like the cookbook. Now inside here are all of our processes. These are like our recipes, right? So how we go out there and create success on every element of the business. So I can take brand new agents fresh out of school that are even part-time and get them popping 10, 20, 30 grand a month, after 6 or 7 months in this industry after splits, because they're able to plug into proven world-class processes, right? Then we take those processes, those live inside of our systems to ensure things aren't forgotten. It allows us to operate in the most effective and efficient way, right? And just make sure that we don't forget. It develops the right habits, all of those different things. and you got to make sure that you have the right supporting systems to be able to execute on your strategy. People always come to me and they're like, oh, well, what's the best systems for me to use in my business? I'm like, systems are dictated based on the strategies that you have in play for your overall business. Like, it's impossible for me to tell you what systems are the best systems for you without knowing what the best strategies are, right? Then our processes are just documentation step by step of what our strategies are, right? Then from there, those processes live inside of a system. Systems just exist to make sure that we execute on those processes in the most effective, efficient manner possible, and things do not get forgotten. So you got to make sure, because we got to work intelligently here if you want to fast forward this trajectory. So got to make sure that you got your processes and systems in place. And we've already talked about your tracking system. Got to make sure that you have your CRM in place, but then with your CRM, that is just a system. You got to make sure you have the right processes inside your system, so that, again, when it comes to your overall strategy, what you're executing on, when you're executing on, so it eliminates that guesswork inside your business. If you don't dial in these different steps, dude, it's going to be very, very difficult, to go out there and make this transition successfully. Okay. So then from there, now we got mastery of your skill set. And this is going to be, I'm going to break down several different things of, like, well, what do I need to go master first? Because there's so many things that we must master throughout this whole real estate journey, right? But then from there, there's different things that it makes sense to master on. So like, if I'm an individual agent or a new part-time agent making this transition, like, it doesn't make sense to me to go out there and master hiring an admin, or how to go out there and grow a team or a brokerage. Like, there's just going to be certain things at certain times that it makes sense for us to master. All right. So here's what I want you to master when it comes to your overall skill set, at least until we get to that point where now you're full-time, and then we can start, mastering some other things. But this is going to be the biggest bang for your buck, if you will. Biggest ROI or ROE. ROI is return on investment. ROE is return on your energy. That's going to make the biggest immediate impact to help you with this transition. All right. So we got your lead gen and lead follow-up. Like, you've got to master the skill set on those things. So skill set is just how good are we? How well we do the things that we are doing. So let's just say that part of your strategy is going after, I don't know, like, whether it's buy side, sell side, maybe you're generating Facebook leads, or maybe you're going out there and doing open houses on the weekends that you have available to you to go out there and maybe you want to go after some buyers and you're doing those things. Okay, cool. Well, how well are you doing those things? It will make or break you. How well are you doing those things? How good are you at, identifying the right open house, setting it up to drive optimal amounts of traffic? How well, good are you at, and what's your skill set on getting people to sign in so you have their contact information? How good are you at, conducting the tour process? How good are you at going in for the appointment at the end of that tour? How good are you at the follow-up protocol after the open house? All of this stuff matters. Or maybe you're going out there and you're going after the listing side. You're calling expireds, you're calling FSBOs. Maybe you're going after investor, side clients, list side clients. How good are you at navigating those conversations? How good are you at pre-framing, reframing, identifying objections, core root objections, overcoming those objections, going in for those appointments? This is what I mean by skill set. And this stuff does not take long to go out there and master, right? Like, within a month, even part-time, like, you spending, an hour a day within a month, like, you're going to be ahead of 90% of this industry, even if you're brand new, right? Then from there, we got to make sure that you master your listing consultation and your buyer consultation. You got to get those down, because we don't want to get you to the point where you're setting all these appointments, whether it's buyers, sellers, but then from there, you flop the appointments. No, we can't do that. Like, you got to make sure that, boom, when you set these appointments, you want to maximize your ability to convert these appointments into clients. Then from there, you're going to need to master your time management, right? And when it comes to time management, 24 hours in a day, 160 hours in a week, the fact is we can't manage that. So then, Josh, why are you saying manage? You got to master time management. What I'm really talking about here is mastering your ability for choice management, mastering your ability for self-discipline, self-accountability, all things very easy to do, very quick to dial in, but it's a skill set that is learned, right? It's not, this isn't a willpower thing. This isn't how strong we are internally. This is something that isn't innate. This is something that is developed and can be developed very quickly, but you've got to go out there and commit to mastering that skill set, because you are on limited time, right? Just the reality of this. You are limited time, so you are going to need to be more focused, more dedicated. Now, the cool thing about all of this, and what I love, because I'll get so many team leaders or broker owners are like, oh, I only recruit, seasoned full-time agents. I'm like, cool. And I go after some of those too. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm going after those for my real estate company as well. But one of the reasons why I love new agents and even part-time agents is because once we get these things mastered, man, when they make that full-time switch, they've got the fundamentals down. Like they are so dialed in that boom, because they've been able to make this transition successfully. It sets this foundation for their business just to fucking skyrocket and go from, zero to popping $20 million a year in gross sales volume within a year or two period of time, right? Like this is going, like these are all things that during this transition phase, is it going to be difficult? Yes. You're going to have to make some sacrifices. Not that you got to sacrifice your health or your family time, sleep, part of health, right? So your health, your family time, and your other career, you're not going to have to sacrifice those things, but you're pretty much going to have to sacrifice everything else. Like if you really want to fast forward this, pretty much going to have to sacrifice entertainment. Sorry, like you have no business of watching the game. Okay, go reward yourself with a game once you've made this transition, and once you're banging out 20, 30, $40,000 months consistently, and you've got this transition made successfully, then go out there and if you want to incorporate some entertainment back in your life, cool. But until you get to that point, like, dude, you do not deserve it. Right? Like it's just, what do you want? You got to deal in realities, we got to quit being, internal babies in our own minds of, oh, I just deserve a day off. I just deserve some fun. I just deserve, okay, then just stay in your corporate gig, go work your 9 to 5 and, just go live an average, mediocre life for the rest of your life. Yeah. Right. And I'm not saying that to be mean, and I don't care. I don't judge people on what they want to do with their lives. I'm just saying, hey, if people just, always are like, dude, I want this. And they say they want this so bad, but then they're not willing to do the things that it takes to go out there and make those realities. And I'm not going to blow sunshine up your fucking ass. So I saw a meme one time that said, I'm not Willy Wonka. I don't sugarcoat shit. Look, I feel it's my responsibility and my job, at least with my agents and those that I coach and those that I mentor. And, with the GSD Mode podcast, I look at this as kind of like virtual mentorship to those of you that watch this. I believe that it's my job to be upfront and honest with you. I'm not going to lie to you about this. This stuff is work, man, but you got to live like nobody else. So then eventually you can live like nobody else. Right. Okay. So we got to master time management. Then we got to master the client to close process. Right. So now you got this client, buyer client, seller client. Right. Okay. You got the first step is, okay, you got the client not under contract. You got to get them to under contract, because a client exists inside of our world and our ecosystem, if you will, to get them under contract. Once they're under contract, we got to lead that to close. Right. So there's a lot of little things in there that you got to master, that you got to get dialed in. Hopefully you've got a good broker and a good support system from the brokerage level that can help support you with a lot of that stuff. But you got to get that dialed in. Then the last element here, and this necessarily isn't going to, fast forward this transition. I'm just adding this is almost like a bonus one here. Because it's so damn important for laying that future foundation. As I recommend out of the gate, you also master your past client repeat referral strategies, so you get those in place, right? Because that's going to lay that future foundation where after you've been doing this about 5 years, it's like, okay, now you got 50% or more of your business. Now next thing you know, you're doing 50 plus deals a year of just people reaching out to you, for repeat referral business. It's the most, easiest to go out there and acquire, costs the least amount of money. Yeah. Right. So any great operator understands the most important thing is lifetime value of every customer. So thinking about, okay, every commission check isn't a $10,000 commission check or whatever your average commission check is. It's like through the lifelong of my career, through the lifelong of my relationship with this, client, past client, that past client should be worth at least 70 grand to your business, between the repeat business that they do and the referral business that they do, if you do a good job at dialing that stuff in. So I recommend that you don't drop the ball there. You get that stuff, dialed in, even though that's not going to necessarily help you right out of the gate with this transition, but it's going to ensure that you're setting that future foundation and not making some big mistakes that you will go out there to overall regret. All right. So for recapping these, we got identifying your replacement income, identify your realistic schedule, time allocation, identify that agent in your market that you like, that that you trust, where if you can't go out there and service these clients or go on those appointments, you can refer that out, still collect 50%. So you're not losing money there on those situations. Okay. Then from there, identify the most effective, efficient strategy based on your current situation, your current commitments, your current schedule, and your replacement income. And that's going to be different for everybody else. Some people, it's only a $5,000 a monthly replacement income. Some people that I talk to, they're high level executive positions, and that they've built up, big expensive lives along with that, because they're used to making $20,000 a year salary. And like, this is going to be different for everybody. Right? This is why, like I said, it's very nuanced. So I'm giving you these different steps, so then that way, you can kind of go out there and put these pieces together on your own. Okay, so then from there, we're identifying the most effective strategy based on your situation. Then we're going to make sure that we are tracking everything, so you know exactly what you did to get those results. And you're going to have 3 months at an absolute minimum. I personally recommend 4 if you're able to give yourself the 4 and be patient with it, of consecutive, consistent months, month after month, where you're hitting your replacement income and making sure that it's tracked and measured. That's the most risk adverse way to do this. Okay, then you got your processes and systems in place, and then boom, we've mastered the necessary skill sets that you need to master. So your lead gen, lead follow-up skill sets, your listing and buyer consultation skill sets, your time management skill set, client to close skill set, past client strategy skill set, have those things down. And look, this process can go fast. And when I say fast, it might take you 6 months, it might take you 9 months, but blink an eye, those 6-9 months are going to go past anyway. Like, this will be quicker than, it goes by fast, right? If you dial these things in and you get this rocking and rolling. So hopefully this was helpful. And again, I'm just going to end it with this. Look, if any of you that are watching or listening to this, if you are stuck in your business is down, stagnant, maybe it's growing, just not growing at the path that you want it to, you're operating down here, but your full potential is way up here. You're capable of so much more. You just do not know exactly what you need to do in the most effective, efficient, profitable manner to get you from where you're at to where you want to go. Like, you got these big goal dreams and visions. You are driven as shit. You just don't know what you need to do to get there. I invite you to schedule a 100% free, 100% zero pressure Zoom call with me personally, a Zoom coaching call with me personally. What we're going to break down, we're going to go through where your business is at, what your 12-month goals are, what your long-term goals and visions are for you and your real estate career, what you're currently doing, what your biggest obstacles are. Then from there, I'm going to map out on this coaching call together exactly what I recommend that you do to get from where you're at to where you want to go, based on your specific situation, based on your goals, based on your obstacles, which again is going to be different for all of us. This is why I do these individualized coaching calls. Now, I can't do these forever. I'm just opening up these free coaching calls right now. I can do about 3 to 4 of these each and every day right now, but it's not something I'm going to be able to do forever. So if you want to take advantage of this, my one-on-one coaching is usually $1,000 an hour. At least as of this time, it's going to probably continue going up and up and up. So if you want this for free right now, I highly recommend that you take advantage of it. Schedule that at www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. Full disclosure, the very end of this call, we're going to spend about 50 minutes just focused on you, your business, making sure that you have the plan and know exactly what to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go. Then from there, I'm going to spend a few minutes at the end of the call walking through some possible options that I think, might work for you within my coaching and mentorship programs and help you accelerate your journey on getting to where you want to go. And look, if it's for you, cool. If it's not for you, that's okay too. We can still be friends. I will still make sure that you know exactly what to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go, whether you ever do any business with me and my coaching program at all. You got nothing to lose, everything to gain. So I'll just end it with this. Think of this as, if you're drowning in quicksand, all of a sudden I see you, right? Like, I come over, I throw you the rope. I'm throwing you the rope right now. It's your job to grab that rope. I will yank you out. I will pull you out. I will make sure that you are dialed in. I will make sure that you get to where you want to go, but I can't force you to pull the rope. If you don't grab the rope and you choose to keep drowning in the quicksand, that's your own damn fault, nobody else's. So if you don't take advantage of this and you continue to struggle, I just want you to remember that is your fault, nobody else's. I am here to help you. I will help you. I got your back. I will 100% make sure that you are dialed in. But if you don't schedule it, I can't help you. Now, one last thing on this before we hang up here. The only thing that I ask is that if you schedule this, that you show up, right? I've got a very strict policy on this. If you no-show me, I'm not going to allow you to ever schedule another one with me, right? I track it. I measure it. Like, if you try to book another one in the future, I'm just going to cancel it. Now, there's going to be a reschedule link that you are sent. And I get it. Things come up. If you need to reschedule, okay, cool. There's a reschedule link. You click on it. You reschedule it. Cool. That's totally good. I understand things come up. life happens, shit gets in the way. But if you just no show me and you waste time out of my business or waste time from my family or whatever, and if you disrespect me and my time in that way, then I'm not going to allow you to you utilize my help in the future on these calls, right? So that's the only thing I ask, which I think is very fair to ask. And I respect you. I will be there. I will be there 5 minutes early. So just show up. If you're going to schedule these. All right, you guys. If you want to schedule that, www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. Hope this was helpful. Keep crushing it. Keep kicking ass, and we will see you next time. Peace.